All right, so I'm back. Hopefully this is working out and people who are joining are able to join again. But my name is Lauren Byler. I am the director of Beauty for Ashes Africa. We are based in Morocco. So I guess while I'm waiting for Chrissy to pop on, and everybody just feel free to send your comments or questions or anything as people get back on. I'm not quite sure how it worked with bumping people off from the old one, but hey, we don't claim to be great at technology here at Beauty for Ashes, but we are great at loving people. So there's Chrissy. Hi, Chrissy. Anyway, hi, Kim. Hello. So, Beauty for Ashes is an organization that fights human trafficking. We specifically focus on the prevention of human trafficking, although we do work with helping to rehabilitate girls and women who have been exploited in the sex industry. But the majority of what we do is seek to educate people so that they know their rights and they know the dangers. And we seek to help vulnerable people by diminishing their vulnerabilities and enhancing their strengths. So, first question is, what do I do at BFA? So, I am the director of our work in Morocco. So, I oversee the projects that we do here. Our primary project is a transition home for girls who, for various reasons, are in a specific state of vulnerability, and they would face hunger and homelessness without a place to live. And so our transition home allows girls who would otherwise be on the street have a place to live, food to eat, a community of loving people to live with, parental figures to help guide them, and while they finish education programs. And then we also walk with them when they finish the education programs. We help them step by step to transition into regular life. So that is our primary project. We also work with girls under the age of 18 who are vulnerable, trying to educate them about, hi Becky, one day I'll meet you. Trying to educate them about what vulnerabilities are. We're currently working on creating our own curriculum specific for girls in the situations that we work with. They're specifically vulnerable to kind of what we would call a lover boy pimp model. Sorry, that was actually one of the girls that we'll talk about later, and I will call her back. But so we seek to help them to understand kind of what their vulnerabilities are, what that looks like. Girls who are raised often without father figures or even mother figures, who are raised by relatives who often feel unwanted and abandoned, on top of the vulnerabilities of hunger and homelessness, they also face the vulnerability of not having love, and so that makes them very, very vulnerable to traffickers who seek to win the affection of young girls and convince them that they love them, and then slowly exploit them and move them into prostitution situations. So we work to do that. We're creating that curriculum. We are training up our staff in how to do counseling for girls who have been victims of sexual trauma. And that's kind of my area of expertise. So just trying to train other local women on how to counsel other women and girls here. And we also do direct outreach to women and girls in prostitution. We have several relationships, and one of our goals is to be able to start a social business to help employ them while they are transitioning out of the lifestyle, and also while they are not employable. And we help them with the various things that make them unemployable, like getting proper document, paperwork, training, and education, and all of those things. Okay, so the next question is, how do you determine which girls are vulnerable? There's a vulnerability scale. Obviously, girls who would otherwise be homeless are at the top of that. Also, girls who would be living in physically or sexually abusive situations. we partner with the government here, and so we have a relationship with a judge, and so a lot of these girls are already in the government system, and then when they age out, when they hit 18, the judge will recommend that they be put in our house because there's no other safe place for them. And of the 7 girls currently in our house, 6 of them are in that situation. So, let's see. Anybody have any more questions? Can talk later, just talking about the coronavirus and how that's impacting our lives. Obviously, our girls are quarantined in a house about 5 minutes away from my house, so we are video chatting every day. They seem to be really enjoying it. The Ministry of Education has an online curriculum, and the girls in public school, 3 of our girls are in public school. They are following it. 2 of them are doing an excellent job, and one of them is getting pep talks every now and then on why it's important to wake up. Hi, Paul and Sarah. The other girls, one of the girls it's kind of sad timing. She was she just finished getting her diploma as an international cook, just got a job at a very high class hotel as a sous chef, and obviously that hotel is currently shut down, and it's kind of sad. And she has been working so hard, 6 days a week, like all this, and so now she's literally running up and down the stairs asking if she can do anything for anyone. She's struggling the most, I think, with the quarantine because she's used to being so busy. The rest are really enjoying it, I think. All this to say, here in Morocco, where 1 person per household is allowed out to get necessities. So we have 2 full-time staff who are quarantined with the girls now. And they're doing a wonderful job trying to, like so many other parents suddenly find themselves in, homeschooling teenagers. So we're really, encouraged by them, and they seem to all be having a really good time. That's the way. On the other side are the girls that we are working with and the women we're working with who are not in the home. This isolation is creating quite a problem. We don't even know the full extent because we're isolating it ourselves. Just talking with people and some of the hardships that they're facing, living in, 1-room houses with 4 kids, when night and day unsafe people could be coming to their house. Several of the girls that we know who have run away are, in very horrible situations. And so we're really looking into ways in which we can help, possibly starting another crisis center where we can at least have a place where they can shelter without facing physical danger. But we're hoping. Thank you for those of you who are joining late. We had some trouble getting started, and we were hoping we would be able to do something where both Chrissy and I could be here to talk. But we're just not great at technology. The next question is, what made you want to start this organization? For me, the journey started many years ago when I was living overseas and first encountered domestic human trafficking. And it started a journey of discovery and finding out what human trafficking was and that there were still slaves in the world. I moved here and wanted to join up with other organizations to partner with them, and didn't find at the time any organizations that were doing this type of work. And so we started Beauty for Ashes in 2013. And mostly in looking, we saw that there is a need for especially housing and care for vulnerable populations. So we kind of, partnered along with what the government was asking for help with, and this is what we do. And feel free to ask questions. This one is, what do you find the most challenging in the fight against human trafficking? I think for me personally at this moment, it changes depending on the day. At the moment, the most challenging thing that I find is people's own decisions, their own agency in their trafficking situations and the choices that they're making, and the balance between wanting to respect and honor somebody else's choices and at the same time wanting to protect them. And so it's one thing to look at the evil out there, but to see, not just to see the the choices that people are making in their brokenness and vulnerability to continue to be exploited, and not to take help when it's offered. I think that for me at the moment is the most challenging thing. Yeah, those are things. At the same time, one of the greatest joys that I see is when a girl starts to realize her own agency and starts to get excited about something and starts to work for a dream and starts to realize the value that she has in this world. And that's really exciting. And the next question that just popped up is, what is working well? And that is a great question, because there are many things working well. The training of the staff is working very, very well. Counseling is a relatively new field here. People typically have an idea that if you need to go get help, there's something wrong with you. Only sick people need to have help. And reality is we all need help. This world is hard to live in. I think we're all realizing that, especially right now. And it's really exciting to see our staff get excited about counseling, going through things themselves, working through some of their own issues that they really never saw was a big deal, but really learning how to thrive and work through some of the pain that they've experienced in their lives, and then being able to communicate that onto our girls is really exciting. I think the relationships, just seeing that change happens in the context of loving relationships, and that is what is working the best overall, is just seeing that the girls know that they're loved and cared for. It's the same, our direct outreach to women in prostitution is a very big challenge, trying to know how to work forward. But we do see that our presence is helpful, and that is encouraging. It works. I always want to move on to that next step. I want to see these women delivered out of sexual exploitation. I want to see them working dignified jobs. I want to see their children going to school and education and not being vulnerable to exploitation themselves. I want to see the generational changes. And it's very good to step back and look and say, you know what, this person now believes they have a real friend. This person has someone that they call when they need help. This person is actually thinking about their children's education and believing that their children might have a different future. These are very important steps. And the next question is, where do we see that there are still needs? I think this could be debatable, but I think the big needs that we have is jobs and people. We need more personnel to be able to train, and we need to start some sort of small business, something to be able to employ the women we're working with so that they can actually see the potential of a future, believe that they can do other kinds of work, believe that their lives have a bigger value and can contribute more to their society. And so creative job opportunities, people who want to come and start a small business, people who want to come and train people to start small businesses. These are our biggest needs right now, even as we think about moving forward. Can you describe a typical day in the transition house? That is an excellent question. Odd timing for that question, because I don't know that there are typical days anymore. But for right now, what we're doing is the girls in public schools, we're waking them up at 9 a.m. For breakfast. At 9:30, they're starting school. And then they are they're going through their curriculum, their online work that they're supposed to be doing. And then at noon they stop. Typically people make lunch together. We eat all of our meals communally. And lunch is usually a good time. Our meals are our most debriefing time. And we eat, and then there's a lot of rest time typically on a typical day. And then around 2:30 or 3 start up again. And the girls that aren't in school, we're doing English classes. We're doing, what else are we doing? We need to do more. We're still figuring out what this quarantine is. So prior to that, the girls that weren't in public school are all in trade schools or working. And so a typical day looks very different for each of the girls. Around 6 o'clock, we do try to have another meal together. Here, it's not dinner. Dinner is usually around 10:30, and that's usually a more kind of get your meal as you go. Maybe we'll make soup and you can have soup when you want it. But at 6 o'clock is when we try to really eat together. We break bread together, casserole, and drink tea and really try to be intentional about debriefing with each of the girls' day. And then throughout the day, the staff or like whoever's there tries to be intentional about sitting with specific girls and seeing how they're doing, gauging their heart. And that's a typical day, I would say. How can people support and help in this work? Well, if you are an entrepreneur or someone who loves to train people in starting businesses, if you want to move to Morocco for about 3 years and start a social business to help employ women in sexual exploitation, to help them get out of it, that would be probably our biggest need right now. And honestly, if someone is watching of you 6 people, please, 6, not sick. If you're sick, I hope you're feeling better. Please do contact us and let us know. But also, if you want to donate financially, we are always in needs of funds. It costs a lot of money to run what we're doing, and we do have full-time staff that we pay. And we are fully supported by private donations. So at beautyforashesafrica.org, you can go there and click the donate button and donate. Usually every summer we have a summer internship. We're still taking applications for that through April. It will be June 14th to July 20th. However, we're holding that loosely at this point in life. But yes, if you're interested in coming, please apply for our internship, our summer internship. The next question is, do you have some ideas of the types of social businesses that would work? There's a couple things we're looking at. Coffee shops are a big deal here. Gyms, those types of things. We're definitely open to creative ideas. We've talked about possibly starting a manufacturing business. I don't want to talk, it's one of those can't tell too much of what we want to do. But if you are interested in those types of things, we want to think outside of the box. Most of the obvious markets are quite saturated, and that's one of the issues. So, Chrissy just posted the link if you are interested in coming or if you want to donate. So I think creativity is probably going to be the key in starting a functional social business. We live in it's a tourism saturated place. There's coffee shops on every corner. There's, so maybe we have some ideas for some creative business outlets, but we will see. I think it seems to be the end of the questions now. But yeah, all in all, we are staying strong. We are very excited about what the future holds. We're excited for getting out of the house eventually, and thank you for watching. What keeps me going? Okay, what keeps me going? I would say my belief in God keeps me going. I very, very firmly believe that every single human being on this planet is created by God, for God, and that because of who He is, we have value and dignity. And I see that in my girls. I see the beauty of who they are, and I think that is what keeps me going, is seeing the image of God in these girls, and very firmly believing that they deserve to live in dignity. They deserve to have the opportunity to learn who they are and give that back to society. And that's very much, every morning I wake up and I pray for each of the girls who are in our transition home, and then I pray through a list of girls that have run away, who we don't know where they are anymore. And that, especially lately with everything going on, it keeps me going. I want that when these girls are ready to come back, I want them to know that they have a safe place to come to. Yes. So because we're quarantined here, we don't have, there's a lot less that we're doing now. It was funny. Everything happened right around our spring break. So I feel like I was kind of running, like, okay, we're going to go on break. I got a week off coming up. And so now I have a lot more than a week off. So We're going to be trying to do this a lot more. Yeah, after this is over, if you have more questions, write them in the comments. Feel free to PM us. We are socially distantly available for you guys over technology. And so hopefully we'll be doing more of these. Tell your friends about it. Yeah, we want to participate with what you guys are doing. So God bless you guys.